Hello and welcome everyone. It is John the Net Guy. It is Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, which means it's time for Tech Day Live. This is show number 512, fifth season, 12th show. That's at least how I've been trying to do it. I've got 8 products today and they kind of spread the gamut. So I'm calling this Cool Tech of the Week because it's a new week and there's some cool tech. The first 6 products that are going to be on the show today were all sponsored. So let me get that out of the way. I do this because I get a small commission, single digits, from the guys over at Amazon. If you purchase anything that you see on the show, if you use that link that's in the video description, that's going to get you to my Amazon store. That's going to get you an affiliate link directly to my products, which then give me credit and help me buy more lights and cameras. So my wife doesn't have to deal with that out of our family budget. And we got somebody in the chat already. BC's checking in. John pulling a Jeff now? I didn't say it's your once a week live show for, oh no. I think I want to do that one day, start out my show with Jeff's entire intro. But I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. It is a completely live show. So the products that I show you here, ask me questions about them. Some of them, I'll tell you, we're doing a first time unbox. We're going to check it out. Or I've used them, like several of these, for several days. And I'll let you know what I think about them. In the end, it's all cool tech. No questions off limits here, as long as it doesn't get me permanently banned, demonetized. But unlike last time we were doing a show, I want to see if Amazon will keep us on air. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the magic button here that is needed to make our show go live on Amazon. I've already programmed it earlier. It says it's upcoming, and we are right on schedule. So I'm going to go to the computer behind me. I'm going to make sure that we're getting a stream going, which we are. So I'm telling it to stream, which it looks like it is. I'm going to hit preview. And if everything goes well, we're going to let the Amazonians in and we will get started. So here we go. Waiting. And I did get the link, which is awesome. I love it. It says over on that computer, I've been signed out. So I'm going to have to use my pricing off of here. Welcome everyone from Amazon. I'm going to pick the first product here. Hello, Amazon people. Send. And if you're an Amazon person, I am real. This is live. Last time the show ended 14 minutes in because it says I was using pre-recorded content, which I'm not. I'm here. I'm live. I'm a human. Ask me any question you want in the chat. We'll find out. But the first product that's coming up is actually a mobile device. Now, I don't get a lot of these, but most recently, I've seen a few of these come through, and this one's got me super excited. So this is the first product. This is from New Mobile. This is the N20. This is an Android smartphone. I'm going to bring it up here on the top down so you can see it. We're going to do a quick unbox together of it. It is a 6.6-inch display Android 14 smartphone. And the best part about it is the incredible price. So it has a lot of like iPhone-esque looking to it. You know, it's got the 2 cameras and a flashlight. Nice new logo there. This is a light baby blue, but you'll see that they actually have several different cool colors here. Pink, purples, blues, green. So they have all of those. I'm going to fire it up. It has a ton of tech packed into this little package. So starts up, booting the Android operating system. It's got the new logo there. It has, if you can tell, and I'm going to try to do it here, a screen protector pre-installed. It has front and rear cameras. So you're going to have those cameras there, a front one. It does boast a 5-megapixel front camera, and I believe it's a 6 and a 12. I'll get those numbers off the back of the box here in just a second once this boots up. It does have several different ways to open the device. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and use my finger, and I'm going to put my passcode in because after a reboot, it's going to need that. So you can open it up using your Touch ID. Essentially, you can open it up using the Face ID if you want. It is running the Google Android operating system. I'm going to try to bring the brightness down so that you guys can see it better on this display. It doesn't have a video out like my other devices do, so that looks like it's going to look pretty good. But a very clear, colorful screen. I love that about this. If you're just joining on Amazon, the carousel is located over here, and you can actually see more about it. The claim to fame on this thing, it is $129 right now. I can say that live, but I can't say that in the recorded video that we're going to do for this, but it's $129, which is less than the tax I paid on my iPhone. And if you're taking a look, size-wise, screen-wise, almost identical. You can see between the two devices here. Very easy to use Android operating system. It's just gotten better and better and better. There was a lot of things about Android I didn't like, but they're getting those fixed. As far as gaming performance, I did try Minecraft. That's my standard test lately because I get to play it with the kids. Now this, I believe, has 6 gigs of RAM. There may be 6 gigs of extended memory that they can use. 128 gigs of memory built into this. So I'm going to let it load up here. I'm going to hit play. It's not too laggy, but there's definitely scenes that you're going to see it lag. Some of the screens as you're going between them take a little bit longer to load than you're going to see on my iPad here in just a little bit. So you can see that. So if you're a Minecraft player, you've got Minecraft on the go, you can do all of your block breaking. As far as the specs, while that's loading up, so 6.56 IPS HD plus, it's 720 by 1612 pixels. So not going to be super, super high Retina type resolutions, but overall, for what you're getting, very easy to read, nice color screen. I like the colors. The only thing I noticed is it's a little limited on peak brightness. That was another thing. Does have the LTE service in here. Does not have 5G though. So it's going to be maxed out at LTE, which is fine because honestly, that's what my SIM card allows. There we go. So I use the fingerprint unlock. Minecraft loves to load every time that you do it here. We're going to go ahead and resume. And of course, it'll be night, which makes it even harder to see here. But, you know, it's working decently. I don't want to change this one to a day. So let's see if I can actually go to menu. I'm going to save and quit. I'm going to see if I can just create a new world, and we'll get that started here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to a different game real quick. Okay, so you can see the overall Minecraft background there. I'm going to go out of this, and we're going to go to a different game. Okay, you remember all those first person, scrolling shooters that you get the ads for? Well, I did find one that actually looks like the ad. So we're going to see how it plays that real quick here. So if you've been seeing the ads for these kind of games, this is one that actually works just like that. Now, this game I noticed works pretty well. And there you can see I can move around, and it's kind of a strategy game. You have to decide what you're going to unlock and how you're going to increase the size of your forces. So for playing these kind of games, very easy, not super graphically intensive. Minecraft did stutter, like I mentioned, a little bit. This game seems to do well. I also picked on good old classic Subway Surfers. So games like that, Clash of Clans, things that most of the games your kids are going to play that are going to be 12, 13, 14 and under, no problem at all. It's going to be able to run those. Let's talk about performance. So there you go. You can see again, I'm just going to do the example here. I almost got it taken. Oh, and I got splashed. So don't try to drive and talk at the same time here. So overall, very responsive on that. Let's talk about speed. So I'm going to do the speed test here because I downloaded that. Now I'm on Wi-Fi right now. It doesn't have 6G Wi-Fi. That's another thing. So it's going to be 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So Wi-Fi 4 and 5 does not have the 6G. But overall, you know, not bad. It's going to get, looks like about just under 300. So 300 megabits on the performance of the Wi-Fi radio, 12 milliseconds latency. My iPhone can destroy this, but it's got a ton more processing. Like I said, the claim to fame is this is less than the insurance that I pay for on my iPhone. So 254 down, 277 up. Not bad right there. I am going to get off of this. I'm going to go on to the T-Mobile network. I actually do have a SIM card installed in this. So we're going to check out the performance, the same app here, and we are going to check the performance using the T-Mobile SIM. Now, I'm in the basement here, so don't have a great signal, and we're going to see if that is going to switch over seamlessly or if it's going to need some help. We'll see if it'll let us do that. I was getting somewhere in the 10 to 15 megabit range earlier. There we go. So it is getting that connectivity. It's definitely struggling on the inside. Now, let's talk about the cameras. It is going a little bit faster here. If I step outside, you'll get a definitely difference in performance here. There we go. So it's up in the 10 range. So again, this is going to be that 4G LTE, not going to be super, super high bands here. And I'm on T-Mobile. I believe this will work with several of those GSM and SIM carriers. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pull the SIM card out of it and show you how easy that is to install. I'm going to turn my monitor behind me off while we're at it. Okay, so go ahead and push this button right here. So this is the SIM ejector. It does come with a SIM eject tool, and I might have to use it. There we go. Because this one's not quite as long. So very easy just to take your SIM card and put it in there and start it up. It does not have eSIM support. So if your account is one that requires eSIM, doesn't necessarily do that, but it does have dual nano SIM, and you can add in up to 128 gig micro SD. So Android smartphone, this would be great for a kid. The other thing is I didn't even show you the other cool stuff that they have down in here. So you're going to have a removal tool. You are going to have a charger. This is going to be 5 volts, 2 amps. That's a 10-watt charger, so it'll charge up pretty quickly. It's going to have some extra stickers in here, a getting started guide, which you don't need, but it's going to come with a TPU screen protector. You don't see this very often when you go to the store because they're more interested in selling you additional screen protectors, but there you go. So it's got a TPU screen protector that goes a case that goes all around it and a built-in screen protector. So you got all that protection right from the factory. So I've pulled the SIM out of this one because we're going to use that in our next product here. And the next product I'm really excited about. So I'm going to put this back in. We're going to shut this down. If you guys have any questions about this N20 from New Mobile, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and power it off. Let me know in the chat, and I will try to answer them. And I'm going to go ahead and check the Amazon and make sure that everything is going smoothly over there. And then we will skip on to our next product. So I want to thank the New Mobile company for sending this out for a fair and honest review. I'm going to continue to use this, and I will let you know more about it as we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that out of the way right there. I'm going to check Amazon, and I'm going to flag our next product. And this one is from a company called Inhand Networks. I'll bring up the box and you'll see right away what it is. This is really cool. I wanted to have this before my trip a couple months ago. It arrived just after I left the house, so it's taken me a little while to get to this review. I hooked it up, and I have to say I'm very impressed with the features. So this is from Inhand Networks. This is their FWA02. This is a 5G cellular router. What is a 5G cellular router, you ask? Well, it is a router with backup internet capabilities. It's going to have Wi-Fi 6 built in, 6 really nice antennas, cloud management. It says it twice here, and that is the claim to fame here, is that it is going to be manageable for your small to medium business network. If you've got an enterprise network, maybe you've got a fleet of coffee shops, maybe you've got coffee stands, and that transaction has to go through, that credit card sale has to go through. They've done an amazing job on this product. We're going to do a quick unbox today, and I'm going to show you what's got me all excited about it. So this is the main unit right here. So, what's funny is I have to hide all of the barcodes. My poor editor has to do that every time. But let's talk about the I/O capabilities that it has. 2.5 gig WAN or LAN 1, LAN 2, USB connectivity, 6 antennas, DC 9 to 48 volts. Now, I wanted to plug this in and see if it was PoE powerable. I'm guessing it might be because of the 48, but we're going to find out. Also comes with these mounting locations on the back here. So you can mount this in vertical orientation, horizontal, however you need to. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can get the rest of the items out here. So that's the Inhand. It's going to come with a mounting template right here. So this is, again, a pro device for you to be able to mount this inside of a business. And then we come back over here. It shows you a little bit about the setup. Now, I can tell you, I was super impressed with how easy the setup was. The one other thing that they have up in this corner is SIM 1 and SIM 2. Because this has cellular connectivity built in, all you do is you drop that SIM card in, and as soon as it fires up, this thing is going to be ready. Now, they have them for T-Mobile or the Verizon network. I'm using the T-Mobile one here. And the speeds are as good, if not better, than you get from a phone because they're prioritized. Now, I'm going to see if I can get that to latch down. I'm making sure that, you know what? I had it upside down. That easy. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up. So I put one SIM in, and it's ready to go with the cellular network only. Now, if I was sending this out to a remote location, maybe I wanted to hook up a food truck or another store or something like that that didn't have reliable internet, I could do that. Maybe I have Starlink and I have a backup 5G carrier and I'm going to prioritize the Starlink. Well, you could put the Starlink through the WAN port here, have this do Wi-Fi and LAN routing. And then I'm going to go ahead and slap these antennas on just to show you what it'll look like complete. But again, this is the longest part of the setup process, is actually screwing in 6 antennas. But with this Wi-Fi 6 technology, the routing speeds on this over 4 gigabit is what it's saying. So 4,000 megabytes. On the 5G side, it said 3,600. I think from a computational perspective, it can get over 4,000. The chip on this, no problem. The web interface, super snappy. And even if you did nothing to it and you just plugged it in like I'm going to do here, this thing will route and run right out of the box. So I just put that cellular SIM in for mobile internet service. Now, there's other products like this from Cradlepoint. That was been a popular one with Xfinity. They used to sell that. I actually helped a few businesses get set up with their Cradlepoints. And, you know, now we do multi-WAN installations in places that have multiple providers. But if you want to have a wireless provider as well, let me get that one situated. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the power and plug into this, and then we'll talk about the different status lights that it has. I have configured this one myself, and we've gone through it already, but you go ahead and plug the power in at the bottom, and then you just simply turn the power on. Now, these status indicator lights are kind of neat. So you're going to have an informational light, you have internet, you have your cellular signal, you're going to have your internet connection, your WAN connection here. Let's get back down in there so you guys can see this. So you're going to have your LAN connection, and you're going to have your 5 and your 2.4G wireless. So that's a pretty cool capability right here. It is booting up right now. It is a hardware router. So definitely like this over a computer, in the sense that this is a fixed device that you can ship off pre-configured. And that's all the hookup that somebody would have to do, is literally just plug in a couple cables. Now, I'm going to get ready to plug my computer in. This is an Ethernet cable that they include. But I'm going to plug the computer in so you can see the performance that you can expect from this device. But I've been really happy with it so far. We'll also talk about management capability and everything. So it's starting up. It does not have a WAN internet connection right now. And I just want to show you that even without a WAN connection, this thing is going to be workable. And I'm going to go ahead and plug myself into the LAN 2 port back here. Okay. So the lights are up. This thing is ready to go. You can see it's hunting for internet. It's got a red light. It's getting the connection to the cellular signal, and then the Wi-Fi is getting connected. So that's what's doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here. I'm going to grab a 2.5 gig network adapter for my PC here, or actually my Mac. Now this will work with Mac, PC, wireless devices. I was using it directly with my phone. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the Wi-Fi here. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in the monitor connection so you can actually see what I'm seeing on this laptop. Give me 1 second here. Okay. I'm going to bring you guys over. So this is the administration screen for it. So you're going to get logged in. I'm going to disconnect some of these other things. I'm going to put the password in, and you can see here that we have a cellular connection. There's our SIM 1, and we're transferring data. So I'm online already using this cellular connection only. So if you had a location where you were going to send this out and you only had a cellular connection, that's going to work. We have internet access and we have in-cloud manager. Well, what is in-cloud manager? But this is in-hand's ability to manage multiple devices. Now, let's see if it's going to remember me. Use a one-time password. See if it'll actually remember it. It will not. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And let's see if I did this right. I did. Okay. So if you log into the in-cloud manager, if you had a bunch of these deployed out in the field, you could actually see all of the different devices, the online status, all of the various networks, and even the location that each one of these was deployed to. So not only do you have local status information, but you can jump into the different devices and you can manage. This reminds me a ton of early Unify gear. And now in-hand also works in the industrial area. They have a ton of industrial switches, which I saw on their site that look really cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens when I plug in this cable. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in, this is my 2.5 gig internet for the house. So I've got 1 gig up and down. I'm going to go ahead and plug this cable into the router, and you're going to see the automatic failover capability. I'm not going to plug it in all the way yet because I do want to do one quick thing. I'm going to do a speedtest.net, and we're going to see what the T-Mobile gives me. So now it's still downloading some ads, so it's not going to be perfect. So this thing is routing T-Mobile right now. You can see I'm up there 25, 30. So that other phone down here, it was only getting about 10 megabits. This thing's already getting 45. Now, I only have a SIM that's good on the 4G side of T-Mobile, but this is 5G capable up to 3,600 megabits per second. So this will get you online in a pinch if there was something going on. Maybe you don't have your primary internet connection. What I'm going to do, once this thing finishes uploading, I'm going to switch the plugs here, and I'm just going to plug in like my internet came back. And what you're going to see is it's going to automatically, over here on this dashboard here, the WAN is going to come back. That turned on. It's going to automatically balance my traffic. Now, you can do full routing in here. It has a full VPN interface. You can set Wi-Fi up. You can do guest networks. You can do all that kind of cool stuff. But you can also set priorities. So you can say, hey, the cellular is only for the cash machine or the credit card processing. You know, the WAN is for the guest only. So if the WAN goes down or guests are saturating your Wi-Fi, your credit cards will still go through. You can do all that kind of cool routing. But we're going to go ahead and run the speed test again, just so you can see how quick this thing literally runs. Now, this is going down all the way to California again. There we go. Now you can see this thing is routing from my internet connection. It's getting 200 megabits there. Not bad through this, and it'll actually go much faster. But if I go back over to the device, you can now see the throughput on my WAN connection is going off the charts here. So you can see all of the managements and statistics are available. Your internet connection data is available. You not only on cellular have a regular SIM, you can use eSIM and you can use a secondary SIM. So if internet is that critical to your business, you got 4 different connections here. You can also set your failover modes, balancing, so on. You can do standard Wi-Fi and standard local network routing. So lots of capability. And this is from In-Hand Networks. Now it is available right now on Amazon for $499. That sounds like a lot, but if you're looking at small to medium business gear, if you think about it, some of those little MiFi jet packs that you would send out with a salesperson on the field, those things are over $150 to $200 in some cases. This is going to be your main router. It's going to have remote management capability, a 3-year warranty. 3 years of that remote management is included with it, and you're going to be able to do that all in a very nice industrial proof deployable package. So this would look great in the back of a business to get you online. So enough said about that. I'm going to see if my speed test, I'm going to do one other thing just to show you the maximum speed that this has. I actually do have the native speed test app, which if you're getting over 100 megabit, sometimes works a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and run the native speed test just to show you the routing speed that this thing has. So this is the wired routing through the native speed test app. Now I was testing almost 900 megabits, and that's maxing out my internet connection here. So we're using up a little bit. I'm getting over 750, almost 800 up. So very, very powerful. And this thing's not even breaking a sweat. So very cool. There we go. So good question from BC. Can I use it as a failover router in bypass mode where my network is managed by pfSense? I believe you could. There's enough configurability here. I think you could absolutely do that. This does have a lot of SD-WAN capabilities, which I didn't even get into. But yeah, if I want to go in here, I can see all of the network settings that are available here. I can go into the specific devices. So this is my sample device. I upgraded the firmware last night. I upgraded it remotely. So you can, I should make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I was able to upgrade the firmware to this device completely remotely. And if you do want to manage the device, you can click into it and see the cellular signal strength, how long it's been online, and you can access it and its configuration data all from that central management console. So really cool if you don't have a ton of IT people, but you have a ton of businesses that you need to manage. Very neat capability there. So probably less for the home user or maybe the prosumer user that needs that 5G. I was really excited to use something like this. The UFD Tech, Brett, he did a trip across country for SynGap, and he had a bunch of different wireless providers, and he had his multi-homed internet. And I'm looking at it going, this one device with a DC range of 9 to 48 volts, if you plug this into a car adapter, you could use this for multi-homed car networking and then plug your Starlink in on the back, and you could be online pretty much cross country. So very cool solution and so much easier than all the work that he did. So let me make sure I didn't skip anything else that's in the box. I think that was about it. It does come with some standard mounting screws, so it's going to have those screws with drywall anchors. So it's pretty much ready to go. Now, the funny thing is, last night when I hooked this up for the first time, I didn't log into it. I put my SIM card in, I ran the test that way. I plugged my WAN in, and it ran the test that way. The IP address, 192.168.2 network, was not used on my local stuff, so it actually worked out perfectly. So realistically, this thing is almost a hands-free install if you were just to use it for a redundant internet. You don't have to do any configuration. But if you do want to spend the time to go through and connect it up properly, they've done a really good job on this one. So very excited. This is the FWA02 from InHand. There we go. So not a bad device. Again, if you're a small business, could be very, very interesting as a deployment technology for you. I'm going to put this off to the side, and we're going to get the next one out. If you guys have any questions on that product, let me know. But very good showing already for that. I'm excited to see all the different places that I'm going to be able to use that in my networking needs. It's kind of neat to have a completely hardware redundant system right there. Okie dokie. Now, the next product that's coming up is cool as well. It is a competitor to one of the hottest products right now, the Jet KVM. And I actually watched Lawrence Systems' review on it the other day. Hate to cheat, but he did a really good job on this one. Next product. This is from GL-iNet. Very small product. I honestly will tell you a funny story. I actually thought it was a travel router because GL-iNet makes a bunch of different stuff. This is the Comet. So a very high-tech product in a very small package. This is the GL-RM1 Remote KVM. This is an IP-KVM. If you guys are familiar what those are, you know immediately the capability this has. I'm going to show you how small this is and what capability it has. So it's very, very tiny, less than the size of a deck of cards. It's going to have your Ethernet. It's going to have a power adapter input. It's going to have a reset button on this side, USB 2, HDMI, and this little icon there, which is for keyboard and mouse. So let's talk about how that works. If you need remote access to a computer, this is all you have to do. So if you have, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a relative, maybe it's a business system with that internet connection that we just showed, the redundant internet connection, and you want to have remote hands capability, this gives you in a less than one C note package a way to connect to that. Now, there's different ways to do all the connections. I'm going to walk you through the way I do it, and it's pretty simple. But let's look at the rest of what's in the box here. So you're going to have an Ethernet cable, a USB Type A to Type C. You're going to have a very small quick start guide, and that's it. And honestly, that's really all you need. There are a couple enhancements that you can get when you're ready, and I'll talk about what those are. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my laptop as an example first. So let's say I'm going to go on a business trip, and I want to use my laptop while I'm away on this business trip. It's really slick. So I take my device and open this up. I am going to need an HDMI cable. It didn't come with an HDMI cable, and the one thing I would say that I dislike about it is that it doesn't have pass-through. Now, if it had pass-through to a monitor, I'd leave this thing connected all the time, because the ability to have a hardware device connected to give your remote hands capability is awesome. So I plug the HDMI in. I'm going to need to plug some sort of internet. Now, I'm not going to take their connector out just yet, only because I have my own. So it's right over here. I'm going to use my internet connection, which we just used a second ago, and I'm going to plug that in over here. The one thing that I would say was kind of interesting is it doesn't come with a power adapter. So let me go see. I actually had a spare power adapter. Did I put it in this box? Okay. So I have a 2 amp 5-volt power adapter. That's what you need for this, but they don't include that. Now, I did try to plug it into my desk power over here, because it does have a power, and it didn't boot up. And I also tried to plug it into the laptop to see if that had enough oomph, but I'm going to go ahead and plug this in over here. Let's see if you guys can see the whole connection setup. So I've got power in, Ethernet, and then I'm going to plug this in over here. The other thing that it didn't come with, and I actually think I have one, luckily, it didn't come with a cable for the keyboard. This is such a weird thing. So this is a cable, USB Type C to Type C, and that's going to give me access to the keyboard here. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug the keyboard into this, and then my computer is going to jump up and ask me what kind of keyboard I just plugged in, because it thinks that it's an actual physical device. Give me 1 second here. I have to go over here and log into a specific website. So I'm going to bring this up. And this website is for the GLINet application. Now, there is a full app for this. If you want to download the app to run this directly, there is no mobile app that I saw, so it's going to be HTML5 browser based. You can absolutely do that. So I'm downloading the KVM for Windows. I did this on a different computer yesterday, so I'm going to install it here for the first time. You're going to get to see it on my machine. So we're going to do it from this computer over here. We're going to assume we were on a completely different network and somewhere else on Earth, and we're going to jump over to this. Now, I had problems with it initially, and it turned out I had a 1.0.0 firmware. And Tom Lawrence mentioned this, that this device is so brand new that the firmware is getting improved every single day, and that there's been some other reviewers that have had problems. So this device allows you to launch the KVM. I'm going to go ahead and log in here real quick, and then I'm going to bring you guys over once I've got my password in. Okay. I do have that, and I do have a device. It says I haven't done any devices. There it is. Okay, let me go back over here, and I'm going to share my screen. Jeremy's asking, what's your thought on PoE++? I love PoE++. Doesn't work with this device. That was the other drawback. It would be great if it was PoE plus powered, but or just regular PoE powered, but it doesn't do that. Looking good. Thank you, Raspberry Pi, for all the for the power adapters I have. Absolutely, Raspberry Pis. That's a great one. So let me go ahead and see if I can share an app. I'm going to screen share. I'm going to try to share the GLI KVM app here. And the only reason I want to try to make this a little bit better is that you guys can see the app that I have. Now, it's showing my local network IP address for this. And when I click on it, I'm going to be able to remote control it, but I'm going to probably have to reshare. So it's connecting. It's giving me a little firewall prompt here. So I'm going to have to reshare. It's connecting to the remote device. And if this doesn't work, I can connect to it on the local network. This app seems to do much better when it's remote. That's what I found. Okay, so this actually worked. I'm putting in an admin password. I'm not going to show that to you guys, sorry. But I'm going to go ahead and put this admin password, and it succeeded. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to screen share window, and I'm going to do the GLI KVM and share this app. So now what you're seeing is the GLI KVM. So this is the KVM application for managing your other remote computer. Now, as I move my mouse around, you see it kind of chases here, making it a little bit bigger. But if I use this computer here, you're going to see that it also works. So what's a good one I can do? The netguy.com. Oh, this one says I have no internet because I don't. I'm not online. I took the wired internet connection away from it. So you can see, even with no internet on the actual PC, I was able to remote hands into it. So if I come over here and I go to blogs and I go to 3D printing, you can see some of my older reviews and other items with a bunch of ads around. I got to turn the Google Ads Manager down. It's putting a ton of ads there. So you can actually remotely access. I'm using my mouse here. There is no software for remote access on this computer. This Mac is actually being controlled, and the keyboard and mouse are being virtualized. Now I can change it if I'm going to watch a YouTube video, let's say Craft Computing, and I wanted to watch one of his videos on here, and I wanted the frame rate to be better. You'll see as I scroll, there's a little bit of jerkiness. What I can do is I can go up here to settings in the GLI KVM, and I can change the quality, and this changes the bit rate. Right now I'm about 2 megabit. If I change this to ultra high, it's renegotiating the connection with the GLI KVM, the Comet. And now as I scroll, you'll notice it's a lot smoother scrolling here on this side. And then if I was to play one of these videos, don't want to get a copyright issue, but if I was to play one of these videos, it's going to be smooth. Now, there are some issues that I've had with this, specifically on Mac. I like to use the Windows key to bring up the menus and things like that, and to Windows tab around, or Windows tilde to go between applications. So it has this virtual keyboard, but I can't do sticky keys for some reason. So that was a little bit annoying. There's a bunch of other really cool capabilities. It has a clipboard, it has file transfers. This thing has about 5 gigs of storage on it directly. So if you need to bounce files between it, you can actually do that through the device. So that's the virtual media here you can see. I can also even go full screen. Now this is going to be a little bit weird because we're on the session inside of here, but I'm running it full screen on this computer here, and I'm remotely controlling this. Now I'm only 2 feet away, so literally that's what's going on, but I could be 2,000, 4,000, 8,000 miles away controlling this computer. Now the person here can still control this computer, and you can see how nice and smooth it is. So no software installed. Now there's a ton of tools out there to do this kind of stuff. There's Parsec, there's Splashtop, there's TeamViewer, there's RustDesk. I could keep naming and going, but the one thing I like about this is it's a completely hardware solution. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here, and then I'm going to let you guys see. I'm going to disconnect from our session for a second. So I'm going to let you guys see again this device. This is all we're using to do this, is a very, very small device. Now, right now, this is only $89. The Jet KVM, way, way more expensive than that, if you can even get your hands on one. That's a Kickstarter device. So very, very affordable when it comes down to it. Connectivity-wise, I would have liked a couple other things. One, the firmware changes. That helped a lot because my experience when I had the lower firmware versions, the connections were slower, if they would connect at all. It is a small Linux box inside. So as you get in there, you can actually jump into the terminal, and they've left it completely unlocked, which is kind of cool. So you can bounce around there and see their Linux install. I don't know if it actually has the hardware and it's just not enabled, but I would love to see Wi-Fi support on this. I don't know if it actually has it. I don't think it does. It does have 2-factor authentication. I would also be interested if I could integrate this in my Google OAuth, so I don't have to put a password in here but I could use passkeys and other OAuth features. Because if you're going to have hands-on, this is literally virtualizing your keyboard, video, mouse. If you're going to have that capability, it's going to have to be super secure, and you're going to have to trust it. So the security of it was one thing that I was considering. Now, it doesn't just work. I'm going to show you real quick. If this demo works, this will be really cool. It doesn't just work with PCs or Mac. It's pretty much any source that has an HDMI output. Now, I'm going to take, this was from last week. I'm going to see if I can do this here. This is a Linux system, and I'm going to need which type of keyboard cable on that one. I'm going to see if I actually have the right cable for this. I may not, but I'm going to go ahead and boot up this Linux box, and we're going to see if we can see what the GLI sees. And I'm going to go plus, screen share, window, and this is the GLI KVM. Okay, so it's online. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can refresh this, and if I can get a connection to it. Because if everything works right, technically, I'll be able to use this with the Linux system that I have over here. So it's just starting up right now. It has a connection, but there's nothing displayed on the screen. So I'm going to go share that. Give me 1 second. Again, we're doing this all live, which is a little bit challenging when you're dealing with multiple screens and whatnot. This is also available in a completely app-free experience. So you don't need to have an app installation for this to work. That's what was really cool about it. This is the first time I'm going to be trying to see if this Linux system will boot up. I wonder if it'll do it. But it does support Linux, which is awesome. So we like that. So you could, any device you have, if you've got maybe an Unraid server or a NAS or something where you want to have remote hands outside of the operating system where you can get into the BIOS, you can absolutely do that with this. And not seeing, I'm going to take this down from ultra high and see if it'll renegotiate that video. So it's reconnecting. See if it can get the right video mode. This is the first time I'm doing this specific test on it, so we're throwing it for a little bit of a live loop here. But I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more playing around with this. Again, two-factor authentication is available on it. You could go up here to the security, enable that. There is a password here, so you can use it completely with your own routing and your own networking, but it does have that relay capability. So that's what I was using. It's going out and technically back in. But it does have a two-factor authentication, and it does have direct IP networking. So if maybe you do your own VPN and you want to go directly to this device, you could firewall it essentially from the internet and use it locally through your VPN and not have to deal with any of the routing that it comes with. So BC is saying, oh, I know your local network. It starts, it's like a password, 192.168. Yes, now you do. So that test with the Linux did not work as planned, but we're going to play around with that, and maybe by next week I will have a version of this running. But that is the Comet from GL iNet. A very small package, tons of cool and powerful features. Speaking of power, the next product I have, if you're into video and video production, maybe you need some wireless streaming solutions. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to bring this up on the Amazon for our Amazon folks. And let me pull this up. This is from SV Bonnie. SV Bonnie. You'll get to see it right here. So this is the box for it. And this is their Trans-Air video transmission system. Now, I've gotten a few of these. It seems like once you do one of these style videos, you get a lot of people that come in once you reviewed one of these products that want you to check out theirs. This is a really interesting take on video wireless transmission. It is 1080p resolution. So 1080p 60 is what it supports. It goes down lower than that. If you have 720 or 1080p 30, you can do that. This is the transmit side here. So that's the transmitter, and this is the receiver side. So if you were to plug this in to that big screen behind me, you could literally broadcast whatever you want off of whatever this transmitter is, up to 80 meters, 240 feet to the receiver, and have it show in real time. Now there's a very small latency. I'll show you how that works here in just a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the receiver in just like it was a computer. So I'm going to plug it into where this was plugged in. Now there's one thing that I think they should probably have included. Depending on your receiver, and if maybe you don't have access to the back of a TV like this one, or if the back of the TV is going to block the signal, it would be nice to have a little coupler like I'm talking about looks like this. So that little HDMI coupler, I'm going to use it here. And it's just going to take this male HDMI end and the male HDMI end that it comes with, and it's going to connect them. Now, this receiver does require power. So let's look at the cables that they've offered us. So inside the box, we've got two different kinds of cables. We have USB-A to USB-C. So that's kind of cool. So this will power both the transmitter and the receiver, depending on how we need to. So I'm going to see if I can plug in the receiver and have it fire up over here. So I'm plugging it into my desk power. And let's see if that's enough for the receiver. So there's the screen on the receiver firing up. Now, if I overlay that video, let's see what it says. So you can see the logo comes up on the receiver. There's no transmission going on to it yet. So that's what the logo looks like. And then it's going to give you some helpful instructions about what to check for. So now you can transmit anything you want that's HDMI output. So you got a video game console, maybe you have a tablet, maybe you have another PC. I could see this being used in video production. So I did a little test earlier and I thought it was so much fun I wanted to do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very popular GH5 camera. This is popular because it's got such great video quality. It does 4K footage. So this will be down sampled into 1080-60, but this comes out at 4K 60 if I want it to. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Let me show you how I make that connection. So if you're looking for something to give yourself a wired to wireless, back to wired video transmission system, I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the HDMI output of this camera. Now I do need to power it up. You could power it with a battery bank or something like that. And then under here, you're going to see the little screen lights up and it's going to find that receiver. So if I come back over here, so it's saying that it doesn't see anything yet. So this is the screen. It's saying check and make sure you have a good connection. And guess what? It just went through. So now what's funny here, there is a little bit of a delay. So you can see me waving in the little mini image. The little mini image up there is actually coming from direct hardware. You can see how low latency that is. And this, if you look what I'm doing here, this is a wireless HDMI transmission that's coming through. So let's see, there we go. Yep, that's the device. So this is the wireless HD transmission. Now, all of my camera settings, this is hardware. So I can change my exposure settings here. I can change my focus, which is always tough on the GH5, getting it just right. But I can have this up to 240 feet or 80 meters away and still make a connection. So that's a really cool, powerful feature of it. Now that's just a camera. So if I unplug this, signal strength is going to go away. We're going to bring you guys back here. So that's a camera option. Let's say you've got somebody with an Android tablet and you need to show that at your church. Well, I just happen to have not an Android, but I have an iPad mini. Now, maybe you're not set up with AirPlay or for whatever reason you don't want to use AirPlay. Let's go back into the kit of goodies down here. So inside of this, it's going to come with two extra adapters. So this is an 8K capable mini HDMI and micro HDMI to HDMI. So depending on whatever device you have, so all your cameras, like if you want to use a Canon production camera or something, you could do that. But they also include a USB Type-C to HDMI. So what I'm going to do to make this demo work is I'm going to plug in my transmitter and then my favorite Minecraft world here, Creeperville. I play this with my kids all the time. I'm playing on this, but I can actually bring you guys over now or bring you right into my game off of this tablet. So if you're a streamer and you want to have wireless streaming of a tablet device like this, this is a fun world at all my kids. It's getting dark out right now, But you can see this is wireless HDMI transmission. I don't have it set for picture in a picture, but let's see if I can do this. Black on, DVE2 is 3. So here you go. You see me, I'm moving this around and it is literally live. So I can show you that. So if you've got a preacher, pastor up front, maybe it's got a laptop that they want to use wirelessly at the front of your church, front of house. Maybe you've got a presenter that wants to hook anything with an HDMI or USB Type-C port here. You can do that. Now to show you what's real, I'm going to unplug and that connection goes away. Now I'm going to take my show iPhone here and I'm going to see, do I have anything good? I got nothing good to show on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the show iPhone in. And in just a second, you're going to see this switch over and it'll actually have the screen right out of my iPhone. So if I need to show something off of my iPhone, this again is being done wirelessly. So I've showed you not only a phone, a tablet, you can do a computer just as easily. So remember we had the remote hands in here. I'll just do that as well for good measure. A couple other little nitpicky things. I love the connectivity that they're giving you, all these different adapters. It is a little bit sad that you need to have enough power to run them on here. It is expected though, there's nothing free. The HDMI port doesn't have quite enough power to run this. So at like our church's annual meeting, we have our treasurer connects directly to our screen and we were having problems with the unpowered unit. So in this case, we're going to plug right in here. So there it is. This is my Mac that we were using a little bit earlier. So I can do a speed test app. So there it is, and a really good screen quality, as you can see on here. So this is my Mac, and I'm using it over this wireless HDMI transmission system. So if I come back over here, you can see I'm not connected with HDMI. This is just a power cable to power the transmitter. The receiver is right here, and it's plugged into the desk. So I could take this laptop with me, again, up to 240 feet away, and I can transmit whatever is on the screen, and it's almost exactly real time. So very low latency. I would guess that this is in the 80 to 100 milliseconds of latency at most. It also does have, I believe it's 6 or 9 channels. So if you're working on this and you have multiple devices and you have multiple of these HMIs, maybe you have 3 or 4 cameras, you can pick different channels and it's very easy to use. Another last thing real fast. Somebody says you should do the transmitter over the KVM. That's an awesome idea. So I just want to show you real quick. This actually has a menu on it. So I'm on channel 7. So I believe it's 9 channels. If I need to change channels or other settings, there's a little button on this. A lot of the other ones that I've demoed and tested for you guys, they don't have any controls and they have no status indicator information here. So I'm actually changing through the channels and it's got no problem. And it's actually, the receiver is keeping up with it. So these things are bonded and paired. And I'm changing channels, so maybe you're getting a little noise or interference. You can change the channel. Now, I want to see a trick I didn't do. Can I change the channel from the receiver? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, that's going to repair it. So you have to change the channel from the transmission side. So that's what I hit over here. But you can see that works pretty well. So if you've got any sort of need for remote video, now, would I play Fortnite or a super high-end game? Maybe you've got a projector and you want to project a video game onto a screen, but you don't have a cable up to that projector, and 1080p 60 is enough for you, this would absolutely work. Would it work for Fortnite where milliseconds matter? I'm guessing between 80 and 100 milliseconds of lag. The other thing, and I didn't do it, but this actually has audio too. So it is transmitting 1080p 60 quality video plus an audio stereo audio channel for you through that same connection. So very easy to use, very easy to set up, and I'm looking forward to try this out in our church. There's some cases where we wanted to have a baptism camera up front, and we wanted to be able to wirelessly connect to that and do some stuff, but we couldn't quite get it to work last time. I'm excited because I think this solves a lot of those problems. So this, again, is from FZ Bonnie. Sorry, SV Bonnie. This is the Transair One ST2 user manual. Now, what's interesting is true wireless HDMI video systems are hundreds of dollars. The ones I've showed you before with the dual antennas and all the fancy batteries and everything, hundreds of dollars. These do the job, and it's $89 right now. So incredibly, incredibly affordable solution if you're looking for one like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put these back in here so we can get the next product out. BC's checking in, says, It's probably best for presentations and conferences. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a conference room and they're like, oh, who's got the cable or whatever, or it doesn't reach to the person. You don't want to have a Teams meeting set up because everybody's there or whatever. So yeah, this would absolutely work for, meeting rooms. Very easy to use, and you don't need a degree to operate them. Now, would it be nice again if they included the actual adapters? Probably. But you know what? I'm not going to fault them for that because, again, e-waste is what it is. I have a box of adapters, and you can plug these into a computer that has enough juice on the USB port to power them. They'll absolutely work that way. So I do see in certain scenarios that you wouldn't necessarily need a separate power adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back in here so I don't lose them. And then we're going to try these out at our church, I think, next. That's going to be a really good use case. Let me know where you might use one of these. Would you use this in a game room? Would you use this in another place? Maybe you want to set up an outdoor football watching thing or something. You want to stream to an outdoor TV. You could definitely do something like that with this. I could see that solution working there. Perfect. Just a couple more products to go. We're almost through all of the sponsored products. So again, I want to thank all these companies for sending these products out for a fair and honest review demonstration. I only get to do that because these companies are so cool and want to be able to show you their products. So I'm excited. There are some times where I'll get a product that doesn't live up to its expectation, and you've seen a few of my videos that talk about that. And this is one of those products that I was using it last night, and I did hook it up to my monitor behind me. It worked flawlessly. I was super happy out of the box from the FC Bonnie company, the Trans-Air 1 video transmission system. So very slick. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. We're going to be on the bottom half of the show here. We're coming down on the number of products we have. The next product is a power product. So it's coming into camping season. If you are camping and you don't have surge protection on your device, you need to think about it. So your house, this is a very, very common problem. Let me talk about what the two ends of this little cord are, and we'll talk about why it's so important. Your house is probably wired with a plug that looks like that. So that's a NEMA 15 amp connection. It's got straight prongs and a ground. This is a 30 amp connection. So your RVs have one 120 volt circuit in the US with up to 30 amps of draw. Now, if you're running your battery charger, your fridge, your air conditioners, all that, it's a lot of load on a single circuit. My father-in-law was staying with us. I probably told you about that. He was staying with us in the winter, and he put 2 space heaters in our RV and was running them both. He's like, well, I only had one on 1,000 watts. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He was pulling over 2,500 watts out of our circuit, and it was dropping our voltage from 120 volts down to 106 at the low. That's where this comes in. So this is an overcurrent protection device. If you're worried about your RV damaging your house wiring, or maybe you're going to a relative's or something and you're going to plug into their outlet and you don't quite know the quality of the connections and the wiring, it's very, very common for house fires and wiring fires to happen because you're drawing too much load, but you do it over a very slow ramp up. So that air conditioner starts up and it's running, another device starts up, somebody plugs in a heater, and so on. And you end up exceeding that. And if you do it very, very slowly, it's very easy to overload the wiring and overheat it. Now, this device is configured and it's not changeable to limit you to 15 amps. So it's kind of like the circuit breaker, the resettable circuit breaker in your house, but it's designed to be a circuit breaker for your RV. So it will limit, this chokes down your RV to only using 15 amps. And if it's going to exceed that, it'll stop it. So this is a very active circuit breaker. I'm going to show you real quick how it works, but I'm going to use a little bit of a different demonstration here, only because I'm going to use a multimeter to show you how the voltage comes through these pins. I'm sorry, I'm going to clean the screen on this thing. I've been using this a bunch lately. So if you're RVing and you don't have one of these, this would be an interesting product if you're going to connect to lower voltage systems. If you're going to connect to your standard RV outlets that have 30 amps and you don't have to worry about limiting it, you won't need one of these. The other situation, and this doesn't do, is it doesn't handle surge. So I've sent you some surge protector devices. You still need that from. So this is from the Geocean company. Now they've sent me a bunch of stuff recently, and they've all been top notch. I've been really, really happy with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this multimeter, and I'm going to test the voltage on both sides of this. And now I can't manually force the breaker on here to trip. I could, but I don't know if I don't want to do that live. That wouldn't be safe. So I'm going to go ahead and switch you guys to the top down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the voltage coming out here. So it's AC voltage with true RMS of 119.9 at 59.9 hertz. Can't get much cleaner or better than that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this device in. So you can see me over here. It's probably easier for you to see this way. I'm going to plug this into that same outlet. Now you can see the status indicator light right here turned on. We have the breaker is already pushed in. Now, if something were to draw more, like if you had a short or something else, and it was to draw over 15 amps, this would stop it. Now, I just happen to know that these two poles at the top are there. So looks like it's coming in at just a tiny bit of voltage drop on here. So 0.7 is the voltage drop through the breaker, and it's coming back up a little bit. Now, if something, again, were to draw this down beyond 15 amps, and maybe I'll come up with a breaker finder someday. That would be kind of fun. But if something were to draw it over 15 amps, this would come in and stop that almost immediately, which is great. So this is from Geocean. Just want to bring them up real quick on the Amazon page so you can see a full version of this. And if you are just joining us, this is John the Net Guy. We're doing a live show. If you visit that URL that you see at the bottom, you're going to get a page that looks something like this. You click on show 512, that cool tech of the week, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm tagging the right product here. And we're going to go over here. Getting the last couple products tagged out here. So this is available right now for $20.99. I did notice there was a coupon as well. So there's a 5% coupon. It's going to get you right around that 20 bucks. But if you are plugging into a home and you don't have a dedicated RV outlet like I don't, if I'm plugging in up where I park my RV, this is going to come in handy because it's going to choke off that connection to make sure that you don't jeopardize your wiring. It's a lot easier to reset a circuit breaker than it is to dig up a power line or to fix a burnt wire or outlet. So this is definitely going to come in handy. It is ETL listed. So, you know, they're showing you what can happen. And this absolutely has happened before. I've shown you guys this before. If you don't have overload protection, circuit breakers are really good at detecting very, very high overcurrents. But if you slowly ramp them past, they will generally, you know, not break when they want to. They'll run several minutes of overcurrent before they interfere, whereas this one is going to be interactive. So that's very cool. So that's from the Geocean company. I want to thank them for sending this out. I'm going to cut in a little bit of footage here of me playing with it with my RV, and you'll see how to hook it up out there. It's a little hard to bring the RV in the studio. So I want to thank them for sending that out for a fair and honest review. Got 3 products left. Or was that 6? 3 products left. So let me pull the next one up here. Now this one, I'm going to definitely have to put in some footage. This is not the coolest next gamer's seat, and it is not a porta potty. This is actually a extra large chair cushion. So I work down here. I've got a Herman Miller down here, so I've got no problem with comfort when I'm in my studio. When I've got this one over here, it's not bad, but it's not as supportive. But when I'm upstairs, we've got these really hard, flat wood kitchen seats. Now I've taken this upstairs and tried it out. It has a non-skid back, and anywhere that you might feel pressure, it literally has indentation. So indentation towards the front here for the guys. It has a coccyx tailbone hole here. So it's kind of like a new version of a donut pillow. So if you're getting any sort of aches and pains, you're doing long hours at a computer, this is what you need to have. Also has this lumbar support, very short here on the back, and some side supports. But overall, very good. It is a memory foam, so it comes rolled up super small, and it is going to adjust to you. One of the problems I've had with a lot of these other chair cushions, they're too small. They don't make them. I'm 6 foot 240. I'm on my way down, we're losing weight here fast, but this one keeps up. So if you're looking for something to make your chair a little bit more enjoyable, let's say, this is definitely a product to take a look at. I'm going to bring up the pictures online only because I want you to be able to see it. It is available right now for 49 bucks. So if you're looking at purchasing it, and I need to tag it on Amazon, give me 1 second here. Gotta get the right product, bring it over. So there is the pillow, as you can see. So it is a seat cushion, extra large memory foam office chair cushion for pressure relief, sciatica, pain relief from long hours of sitting. So it doesn't cure or prevent any disease. I have to put that out there on Amazon as a disclaimer. This is not medical advice, but it is a supportive item here to make sitting for long hours more comfortable. If you've like been at our church, we have those standard, chairs. We have the plastic ones, which are even worse. I wouldn't feel bad if I was going for a long conference to carry this with me and be able to do that. Another interesting thing, and I have to show you this live, is this cover is removable. So you can see the memory foam here. If you get these and you use them for a while, you eat at your desk, whatever, you're no doubt going to spill things on them. And it's nice to be able to take this cover off completely. And let's see if I can show you here. Nice to be able to take this cover off completely and wash them whenever you need. So that's neat. That was another nice feature I saw here compared to some of the other ones, which are not with a removable cover. And this zips all the way around. And then the other thing that I was mentioning, a lot of times those chairs that you're going to use that are fairly hard are very slippery too. So this has a non-skid surface on it as well. So I'm going to take that and show you guys some actual usage pictures here when I get the final video for this. But I wanted to give you a quick introduction on this. It's available right now for $49. There's 6% off, so this is going to get you around in the 46 range. This could also be a good gift. Father's Day, maybe dad doesn't have a brand new chair, but maybe he's looking for something like this. So thank you guys for sending that one out. I'm going to get to the last product over here. And this is actually something my wife and I kind of fight over using these. I've shown you some of these before very early in the channel. I like using these for a variety of reasons. I like protecting my IDs, my cards, things like that I get with laminating. And laminating used to be you'd have to take it to somewhere. This is from the Scotch Company. So Scotch tape, name brand stuff. So the Scotch Company, this is a laminator, one of the best-selling laminators on Amazon right now, 3 and 5 mil capable. And it's very, very easy to use. Now, it's also combined with Amazon's Amazon Basics. Let me pull them up here. Give me 1 second. Now, my wife and I homeschool our kids, and she gets curriculum, which we pay for. But often they're going to say, print this out and use this over and over, or we have multiple kids, and so we print out multiple copies. She's gotten into the system now. Where did I put that? There we go. This is the Amazon Basics. This is 100-pack of transparency film, basically looking. This is going to be for your ceiling here. Give me 1 second to close that. So this is clear laminating paper. This is the full size. The other thing that I try to tell people is that when you have this, when you use this, you don't have to use the entire sheet because you're going to be cutting and trimming and doing whatever. If you're doing full sheets, you can absolutely use a full sheet. Very, very easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started firing up. So it's going to have a couple different settings. I know that this is cardstock, so I'm going to put it on the 5 mil setting. And then it's going to have a ready light here. So this is the Scotch thermal laminator. It's going to do up to 8.5 by 11 or longer. You could do 8 by 14, 8.5 by 14. But very easy to use. You're going to go ahead and put this down in here. If you were doing cards, maybe you want to take some old pictures or other things and you just want to make them preserved. I've done that a lot. I did a conference one time for some software engineers. It was really funny. This is back at how old school it was, but I had made little quick, like almost cue cards, like handouts, and I laminated them and I put them on a ring because they were desk references. This is back before VS Code was cool and can do everything. And so the editors and IDEs we used, I had a kind of a cheat sheet, and they were much smaller, so I was able to cut and do multiples for each one. But the laminating ones come here from the Amazon Basics. You're looking at about 10 cents a page is what it comes down to. You can get it a little bit cheaper when they're on sale. So pretty cool. So BC comes in. Those are also great for things like miniature wargaming, D&D character paperwork, and so forth. Absolutely. So if you do, and I was just double checking to make sure if I don't have a permanent marker in here, I should have grabbed one from the supplies. I've used a bunch of them last week when we were doing the SSDs. So if you've got a permanent marker, or sorry, a dry erase marker, you can absolutely use this over and over and over, which is neat. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Now, technically, it's warming up. This will take a while for itself to warm up. If I hit the 3, it's a lot less power is required, a lot less heat. So it'll actually ready faster here. I can already feel it getting warm, but I do want to get this thing ready here. So I'm going to, before I run that through, BC is saying, you can send it to Yocto so you can test it out in his server room. Absolutely. I'm sure Yocto's got a very nice seat. I don't think he keeps his really good gaming seats in the server area. So we'll have to see that. So I'm letting this warm up. I'm going to go ahead and put this out of our way. And in just a few more seconds, I can already feel it warming up. It's going to go ahead and that ready light will come on. And then you know it is ready to work. I'm going to bring that over. And I don't want to do it too early. You notice that? So let me show you real quick how this works. So it's got a continuous motor that's running inside there that's going to draw in any of the sheets. And then there's a heating element that's going to seal them together. So this is essentially as good as a commercial laminator. Not going to be as fast, but it has the heat and the pressure, which is what you want. Now there is a release, which you can push here. So if you get something sideways, maybe you didn't feed it right, and you get it sideways, you can absolutely hit the release and you can pull it back out of there. Oh, it's getting close. I wonder if I should bring my thermal camera out real fast. I don't know if I can do that quick enough before it's ready. I don't know. I got the Seek thermal. I wonder if I can see how hot this actually does get real quick. I'll do that real fast. So I've used this before on different shows. So there is our thermal imaging camera. Let's see if I can do it this way so you guys can see it too. Now it is already ready, but I'm going to show you the heat that it's generated. Come on, there we go. So you can see the hot spots on it. It's very hot in that center area, 175 degrees it's saying. This is from Seek Thermal. You can see the heat signature on the top there. So definitely warm. A little cooler on the back, surprisingly. So I'm going to go ahead and send this through because it is ready now. Once that ready light greens up. Now, if you're doing just 3 mil, it's going to be a lot faster to warm up. But the 5 mil does take a little more heat, and that's the thickness of it. So I've got cardstock going in here. And now 5 mil is going to be the limit on it. So if you're trying to do stuff that's bigger than that, you're going to need a more industrial unit. But you can see the quality of it. It's clear. That's the other big important thing. So as this is running, I can show you guys. See how it's perfectly clear coming through there? That means it's getting the heat all the way through. If I had done it too early, if this was cloudy on the edges, that means it's not ready to go. But this is the speed at which you can laminate. And again, I'm using for media here, I'm just using the standard Amazon Basics. This is a 100-pack of laminating sheets, and they're available. These are 3 mil sheets technically, but because I'm using it with such thick cardstock, I picked the 5 mil thickness just to make sure I get enough heat to seal this down. Now you can also take a pair of scissors. That's done perfectly. It's ready to go, and it's still very warm. But you can take a pair of scissors and you can trim this down if you want. Like I've done a bunch of cards. So if you want to take a bunch of like business card size items and laminate them all at once, I like to do this for my fishing license. I make a photocopy of it because it's really easy to get damaged. And then I will laminate the photocopy so I can throw this in the tackle box. It can get wet on the boat, kayak, whatever you're fishing in, and I don't have to worry about it. So that was laminated that fast. And this is from the Scotch company. Very highly rated device too, and it works really well so far. So this has been John the Net Guy. We had a great show today. We kicked it off with a cell phone, which I thought was awesome. This is from New mobile, if you're looking for a cell phone that is barely the cost of insurance or tax on your fancy iPhone, this N20 is not bad. Now, a couple drawbacks: the CPU, not super fast. You might notice some little bit of lag in some games, but it's going to run all your apps, your email, your social media just fine. If it's a kid's first phone, it's Android. It comes with a TPU case as well as a screen protector. I might invest in a little heavier duty screen protector, but it's coming with it, no doubt. So that's what we kicked off with. We next went to, and I'm going to see if it's available and handy. Here we go. This is from InHand. This is the FWA02. This is their 5G cellular router. So this is going to route WAN traffic, 2 different cellular networks, or eSIM, depending on how your connection is. It's going to give you uninterrupted backup internet if you need it. So if it's a mission critical device, this switches over in seconds and you have continuous internet. With remote management capability and powerful Wi-Fi 6 speeds, that is a fantastic device. We went from there to the Comet KVM. This is the smallest device I think I've shown today. Let me see if I can unplug it from our network. This little tiny guy proves that a lot of things can come in a tiny package. So this is the Comet KVM. It's a direct competitor, technically, I think, to the Jet KVM, which was so popular, but you couldn't get it. You're getting the same kind of features in something in a very small package. Only thing it's missing, in my opinion, is the HDMI pass-through. If I had that, I could leave this connected permanently. But if not, if I need to help a relative or somebody, I can say, hey, go ahead and just plug that monitor cable into this. I'll get on the computer and work on it. Or you just set it into a second monitor port and you mirror the screen, you're good to go. So we checked that out. We also checked the wireless transmission system for HDMI. We checked out a 15 amp circuit breaker for your RV if you're camping this summer, or maybe you have a less than 30 amp circuit that you want to protect. That's a great item. We also checked out the seat cushion over here from Le Fardet. They have that. They want me to check it out. I'm going to use it for the rest of the week, and I will let you guys know on my social media, but I appreciate you guys for checking in. I'm looking here, and I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I'm going to say bye to the Amazon folks. Thanks, everybody on Amazon that checked in. I appreciate you guys. If you do watch me on Amazon, you can hit the follow button down there. You can see any of the products in the carousel on the right. If you're on any of the other services, thank you so much for watching tonight. I will see you guys next Tuesday. This has been John the Net Guy. Have a great evening.